Hello and welcome to a new long format scripted episode of Jaw Jacking with James. And on this little listening adventure, I'm going to talk for an extended period about soda, pop, or in some central southern areas, Coke. But, in general, soda. Let's get started with you might want to get yourself take a quick pause and get yourself something to drink and come back and press play again because I'm going to talk about a great deal of different frothy beverages and you're going to hear about it. So, anyway, let's get started. I'm going to go off with my favorite beverage, my nectar of the gods, my go to beverage I like to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or something I like to have to unwind after a long, hard day, or wake up to like a cup of coffee, Dr. Pepper. And it may be a contentious topic to some people on both coasts or internationally, but to give a brief description, Dr. Pepper is a dark brownish soda from Texas. I've watched several documentaries on it, so I'm a semi bit of a expert on Dr. Pepper after drinking it for so long. But it was a Southern drink, so the American South drink. Started in Texas and worked its way all along the South, and was a semi competitor with Coke in Georgia, where Coke started in Georgia. That's why everybody in Georgia refers to, hey, let's go grab a Coke. That's their saying there, but it was a Southern thing for quite a while, and then it became a Northern thing in, I want to say, the 60s and 70s, where it started heading up north into the northern market, which was obviously still Coke and Pepsi. But Dr. Pepper's always been that, third option to your Coke and your Pepsi. But we're not going to go into who sells this, who owns that sort of thing. We're just talking about the beverage as itself. And I want to make it very clear. Everything I'm going to talk about, every soda I bring up, every beverage, I'm not going to say I'm being sponsored by them, but if they somehow, some way, learn about this, I'm always willing to negotiate, and if that works out and they can sponsor me, hey, I don't hate money, and if it's a product I like, I don't mind. But regardless, that's that. But to get back on track about talking about the best darn beverage I've ever drinking in my life so far, my number one, yeah, Dr. Pepper. It's definitely got a kind of bit of a cherry kind of light spice, but still sweet, light salting taste to it that makes it, for me personally, go with just about any and everything in between. And yeah, I've drank in it with my breakfast. I've drank in it with lunch, dinner. I've had they've made Dr. Pepper jelly beans. They've made Dr. Pepper cotton candy. There's a barbecue sauce for it. And I've also tried, up to this point, almost every variant. I know that they're going to, as of this recording, come out with a new variant called Dr. Pepper with coconut. Looking forward to, trying that. But there was a small tint when I was younger where I tried to drink Diet Dr. Pepper, and once again, it's the same problem with all diet sodas. they all have the same problem of it sort of tastes like the original, but just not enough. It still has that missing thing called, sugar and caffeine, and I guess a few other ingredients to make it taste like the soda that you wanted it to taste like. And that goes true with every diet soda. It's just like, it's just not the same. It's basically just like slightly flavored dirty water at that point. The only difference is it's not dirty water. It's carbonated, sort of sugary, but not sugared, diet, gluten free, caffeine free, no enjoyment water, basically. Might as well just drink water at that point. I know why we have diet soda. It's an option for certain people to have that option of like, I'm not drinking as much, but you're still drinking a can of carbonated chemicals, and at that point might as well just have your carbonated chemicals just taste how you want them to taste and actually get somewhat of an enjoyment out of it. But that's bleh. I'm not a fan of diet soda, as you can tell. But anyway, there are the other variants of Dr. Pepper. There's Dr. Pepper with vanilla, which is more of a creamy Dr. Pepper. You got your Dr. Pepper with cherry in it, which is kind of ironic because the formula for Dr. Pepper has cherry in it. I guess they just added extra cherry on top of the cherry. And then there's Dr. Pepper strawberry, which I've actually seen that you can only get it at like places that have the touchscreen fountain machines at restaurants, because that's the only one that has like the syrup for it to have Dr. Pepper and strawberry. I personally think it's one of the better tasting versions of Dr. Pepper besides just regular Dr. Pepper. And then they also have cream and strawberry, and cream and cherry. There was also Dr. Pepper Bold, which is one with like 10 calories. It's basically a diet Dr. Pepper, but it tastes slightly better, but not as much. But it's just one of those things where like they're trying different things. I remember the commercials for it were relatively amusing, and yeah. But I mean, right now I have a Dr. Pepper plastic cup, and it's the interesting cups that you would find at back when Pizza Hut and pizzerias were still like a thing, and they had like the reddish plastic like cups. They're hard to describe if you don't like see them, but to some older fans, you know what I'm talking about. The kind of harder plastic. They sound different. They feel different. And apparently, yeah, they are made different because they're made with a different kind of plastic that's insulated better, is more resilient to falls, and it gives you that feeling of like you're, in a restaurant of drinking out of your soda, because they made them for all the brands here, Coke, Pepsi, Dr. Pepper. I think Mountain Dew made a few of them too. But to move on to our next subject, we're going to talk about. I'd like to think my second favorite soda that I drink quite frequently is Mountain Dew. Do the dew. Taste the mountain. Mountain Dew. Yeah, it's another one of those great beverages that I can drink every day. I consider it, kind of like the nectar of the gods, the healer of the soul, and it can feel like you're tasting the Mountain Dew, the dew of the mountain itself. And I find that Mountain Dew is always good for your long gaming sessions or uh, parties and get-togethers, and it's just a good beverage to make mixed drinks, and it just goes good with a lot of things. I personally for me, I think Mountain Dew peaked. Well, it still peaks to me, but one of its peak flavors is one of the introduced Mountain Dew Baja Blast. That there is a good damn drink, and I don't care what anyone says. Uh, but another hard contender is Mountain Dew Code Red. The cherry variant of Mountain Dew. I don't know what it is with soda. We're going to bring up cherry a lot in here, but I guess cherry is just that thing that just, chef's kiss adds that little bit of extra to every soda, I guess. I don't know why. It just works. It just works with it. But if there's one thing I have about Mountain Dew is they try a lot of variants, and some are hits, some are not. I personally never liked the Mountain Dew mystery flavor, or they tried to disguise it with the Mountain Dew Boo flavor for Halloween, where the Mountain Dew's all white. For some reason, to me, it never tasted right, and it tastes off. And then there's Mountain Dew Spark, which is like a kind of lemonade, kind of pink lemonade or lemonade kind of Mountain Dew. It's okay. And then there's Mountain Dew Voltage, which is their blueberry and raspberry flavor. It's also okay. It kind of reminds me of. I'm going to do an episode about it. But a brief thing is, if you ever played the Fallout series, there's this beverage in it called Nuka-Cola Quantum, and it's like the same color as Mountain Dew Voltage. Compare and contrast. And it kind of reminds me of that. That's why I sometimes drink it, and it makes me think of that from, the Fallout games. But other than that, it's kind of okay. And then there's another one that they keep pushing, the Mountain Dew Frostbite has like a shark on it. That one I don't particularly like. It just doesn't have the same pizzazz, as it will, as Mountain Dew, the Baja Blast, or the Code Red. Those are their three better flavors. And of course, Diet Mountain Dew just sucks. I don't hold any company against them for having a diet option. I know it's one of those things that they have to have an option for it, but I just never got around to liking diet sodas of any kind. It's going to be a recurring theme in this episode. Diet soda. It sucks. But anyway, I'm trying to think. I believe they made one other thing called, I think, Red Fusion in like the early 2000s. I don't know if Dr. Pepper did it or if it was by Mountain Dew, but for a little while they had this soda called Red Fusion. That was pretty great. But, yeah, no, it's one of those things where I don't know which one it came up from, but I wanted to mention it real quick. But to get back on the important topic of doing the Dew, I've always found that Mountain Dew goes good with Taco Bell. I don't know why. I guess it's just ingrained at this point. Even though I don't know if there's any correlation, but I think it's probably a brand deal, and they just associated with that. And yeah, that's just one of those things that like they marketed it so much, and now it's ingrained. Like you associate Taco Bell and Mountain Dew is the same thing. And the other thing of you do a little bit of Mary Jane, and you have yourself some Mountain Dew and Taco Bell. I mean, we've all partaken, and it's just associated with the two. Just you can't get away from it, and that's always been amusing to me. Why don't we go on to my all-time third favorite soda, and something that, I think we can all agree we all have a hankering for every once in a while. It just hits us, and we have to have one. But that's just me. Is root beer. Never can go wrong with a good old fashioned root beer. And it's just in terms of like which company makes the best root beer. It's a really hard pick for me because you got A&W root beer, and they have their special bottles, and so they look like the old glass root beers, and I wish they would market it more towards, that root beer aesthetic. But then you have Stewart's root beer. God, that's some good ass root beer. But there's another like third party company. I believe it's called Wild Bill's root beer. Um, I I got introduced to them at like, whenever I go to anime or comic book conventions. I have like I think like 4 or 5 of their tin cups, and if they ever wanna, you know, become mainstream, they could totally do it. I mean, their root beer is top notch. I love that root beer. It is good ass root beer. Not being sponsored, by the way, by any of these companies I'm talking about, but just this is a guide. Be like, hey, try that. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, hey, at least you tried something new. But Wild Bill's root beer, good. Give it a shot when you can. Let me think. Let's see, A&W, Stewards, Wild Bill's. Oh, Mugs root beer. Yeah, that's the Pepsi equivalent of root beer. And then there's Coke's equivalent, I think, is Brook root beer. Both of those, like the Barks and Brook, they're okay. They're okay, but they're kind of like a. It's like, oh, at least I have a root beer kind of root beers. I don't have anything bad to say about them, but like sometimes it's just like, hey, at least I have a root beer. And yeah, that's that on that subject. But root beer floats, your root beer candy, just the general thing of root beer is just. I don't know. It's one of those long-standing institutions. I mean, first you had the root beer float, then you had like a Coke float or Dr Pepper float, all stem from your good old root beer. I believe it was the first soda. Don't quote me on that. I mean, Coke came out in 1898, around that time, but well, I would have to rewatch that documentary on the invention of soda itself, because I know carbonated water was concocted, I believe, in the 18th century. Yeah. Yes, I know it is. I just don't know the exact year. But moving onward into the wild blue yonder of soda topics, we come to the other, not so main thing, but besides root beer, the other go-to is ginger ale. You ever just, have a upset stomach and, have some ginger ale when you're sick? Or you need to have a mixed drink and you want some ginger ale there? Nothing like a good old ginger ale. It's funny. The older I get, the more I want to drink ginger ale every once in a while. I guess it's just getting older. Like everyone I've ever known that was, older than me drank ginger ale, and so I get older, now I want to have ginger ale. I don't know, maybe that's a generational thing, but I find that ginger ale is it's always a good thing. Trying to think. Yeah, Canada Dry ginger ale, always a good choice. I can't remember some of the other brands, but yeah, ginger ale, my dudes. I primarily use it for mixed drinks. It goes good with gin and vodka. Yeah. Moving on. Crush soda. Crush, the soda that has almost every fruit flavor as a soda for Crush. I mean, they have, your obvious orange soda Crush, which is always good. Can't go wrong with orange soda and grape soda. But they also have watermelon, pineapple, raspberry, blueberry. I think. Then tropical flavored. Let me see. Oh, peach. Peach is really good. Yeah, no, I do like. If I need like a like a fruit based soda, I go Crush every time. Can't go wrong with a Crush. I have a crush on the Crush. Ah, puns. I believe that's a brief synopsis of Crush right there. Let's go on to Pepsi. Oof. Now there's a heavy hitter. It's often funny that my father would say that he was unofficially part of the Pepsi generation, even though he was born after World War II and in the 50s. So technically he was a boomer, but every boomer drank Coke and Pepsi back then. So I guess you could say yes, he was part of the Pepsi generation, as it will. Um, it's funny between the two competitors of Coke and Pepsi is that Pepsi has a little bit more of a bubbly bite, as it will, in your mouth than Coke. Coke has a more sugar taste to it, like it's sweeter, where Pepsi has more of a bubbly kind of, like, it doesn't actually like bite your mouth, but you feel it coming in your mouth and you feel the bubbles in your mouth, and I guess that's why it's so I guess that's the for me personally the difference between the two. um I will say that I kind of like Pepsi more than I like Coke. Coke has its place. It's an American institution and has been around for well over 100 years. But yeah, I kind of like Pepsi slightly more than Coke, just ever so slightly. But Pepsi definitely has the better variants, like your Pepsi vanilla, Pepsi cherry Pepsi. I love cherry Pepsi. I don't. So once again, the cherry comes up. I like it better than cherry Coke. But it's funny when they brought out the alternatives like the Pepsi Max and the Coke Zero. I kind of like Pepsi Max a little bit more. I don't know. Maybe it's just that Pepsi always just tasted slightly better than a Coke to me. But I don't know. It's just I don't know why. I just prefer Pepsi a little bit more. They also have the better like competitors to Coke, and Coke has to come up with a competitor. Like, yep, your Pepsi, your Coke. Pepsi gets an orange soda. Coke has to get it. So like you have your Crush, and then you have your Fanta. Those two are competing. Mountain Dew, Yellow Mellow, uh, Sierra Mist, which is now just Misty or something like that. They changed it to where Star. That's what I'm trying to think. It's called Star Soda now, but it's just that's Sprite owned by Pepsi now. That's the Sprite alternative to it. Yeah, that's what it is. But yeah, like one comes out with one, the other has to come up with a competitor version of it, which is just the same thing as that one. I will say Sprite is better than Star. That was previously Sierra Mist. But that's just personal preference to me. And let's see what's on the next one on our agenda. I'm going off my tablet because I write notes in the script because I know if I write it down on paper, I'm going to lose it at some point. But that's just something for me. Anyway, now we're on our last major soda, Coke. What can you say about Coke that hasn't already been mentioned so far? It's good to make Jack and Coke. I like Jack and Coke. Do I drink it all the time? No. Do I think Coke is good? Yes. I mean, I have several Coke memorabilia. I have an original, well, not original, but I have a glass cup, glass of Coke. I had some other Coke memorabilia, but I don't know what happened to it. Oh, I've got a Coke glass, like the old, 50s diner kind of cups where it's kind of wide at the top and thins down where you hold it. Yeah, but I mostly don't collect Coke memorabilia as much as I collect Dr. Pepper memorabilia for obvious reasons. But occasionally, if there's no other option, I'll drink a Coke. But not as big a Coke fan as I am a, Dr. Pepper or get a Pepsi kind of person. But that's just personal preference. If Coke were to somehow come up with making Coke better, because there was a time where, Coke really took it to Pepsi and came up with like some really good Coke variants, like Coke with vanilla. And when they started bringing back the glass bottles, for some reason, Coke, Pepsi, Mountain Dew, Dr. Pepper, they had glass bottles, and they all come from a factory in Mexico. If you look at all the bottles, they all come from Mexico, because I guess there's a big glass making warehouse there. But I'll take it because soda in a glass, coming out of a glass bottle, always tastes better. I don't know why. It just does. Let's get to our last thing. Oh, specialty sodas. Yeah, there are a few specialty sodas. Let me think. If anybody has ever tried cherry wine, it's it's a fairly recent soda to come on the market. It's not bad. I'd give it a try if I could. Constantly, that creaking is my chair. I realize I've just been creaking, and I can hear it in my microphone and my earphones, like creak, creak. Anyway, yeah. Let's see. Cherry wine. I've mentioned a few others. Oh. There's the Coke variant to Dr. Pepper called Pibb Extra and Mr. Pibb. I don't know why also, but I do like Pibb Extra and I do like Mr. Pibb. It's actually quite good, and it's got a more peppered spice to it that it's just good in a certain way that if I have the option to, I'll grab it along with the Dr. Pepper to just, compare and contrast the flavors, but I still enjoy the flavor of it. And I think that is it for that. Damn. There's a fly in my room and it keeps flying on my screen and pissing me off. Ugh. These modern inconveniences. Anyway, let's go to our... my last one is diet soda sucks. Yes, I completely agree with that in my last staple in my script that I wrote. Yeah, diet soda does in fact suck. It's awful. It's bad. I would put it before Congress to have it removed, but I know some people just love to have that option of, oh, look, I'm not being as bad because it's a diet soda. I mean, I'm not here to advocate that soda is like the best thing for you, but at least it tastes good. Diet soda doesn't make you isn't any better for you, and it tastes terrible. If I could, I would just be like, let's just ban it so we have regular soda. If people don't want to be as bad, you can have a glass of iced tea or have a glass of water. It's better for you, and at least it tastes better. All I'm saying. Do we need diet soda? Not really. Do some people who apparently just need to have bad tasting water and are, probably aliens? Oh well, there's a market for them, I guess. It justifies it, I think. I don't know. Probably not. No. Ugh. I'm just thinking about diet soda. It's just. I mean, it's the same people who like to drink tonic water without, putting it in an alcoholic beverage, which was the intent of tonic water, just to use for mixed drinks. But no, let's drink it without putting alcohol in it and say it's good. Even though, it's just bitter. That's why you add alcohol to it. But, what do I know? Ugh. All right. Let's close this out with yeah, I'm not being sponsored. Just want to make that very clear. Um do I think that we should have more soda? No. As someone who is a recovering fat sack of crap, I used to be much, much fatter than I am. And that's mostly because I drank a lot of soda and didn't exercise. I've now reduced soda and I work out a lot more. And I also eat a lot better too. So, am I saying having a nice cold soda is good every once in a while? Yeah. Should you drink an entire 12 pack of soda? Certainly not. I mean, I'm an advocate for, hey, nothing's good than a nice delicious soda, but moderate yourself. That's my lesson to take away from all this. It's like, hey, enjoy life's pleasures, but don't be insane about it and just gobble it all down. And it's like, yeah, sure, some drugs are good. It doesn't mean you should just do all of them all at once. Sort of the same thing, but not really. I'm just, spitballing here with comparisons. Anyway, wow, this one has gone a little longer than I thought, but if anybody wants to hang out and, listen that long, I thank you for staying this long and listening to me rant about soda. I realized I didn't take my own advice and have something to drink, so I'm probably going to gulp down some water because I'm thirsty and my mouth's dry from talking about things that will make you thirsty. Ironic, it would seem, but these are the things we do when we try to do podcasts, I guess. But anyway, I thank you, listener, whoever you might be, for listening. I'm going to try and get more long form episodes, and then in between a long episode, do try to improve from 2 to 3 short episodes, like minimum 5, maximum 15-ish minutes. That's what I'm trying to push for, trying to expand that audience. I'm trying to get on other platforms too. I think I'm on Apple now and iHeartRadio. I think I have to double check my analytics. I hate having to check them, but I have to. Anyway, remember to try to subscribe to me, share me around. I'm on Instagram, Twitter. I keep saying I am, and I need to work on it and do it. I'm going to try to make some YouTube videos, short videos, not too long, of just me showing where I work and what I'm doing and do brief synopsis of episodes I have Anyway, listener or listeners, you have yourself a good day, and I hope you find your beverage that you prefer, whatever it may be, even if it's not soda. But always remember to drink water because hydration's important. See you around.